It's been 7 years since the ending of one of the fandom's most beloved series, Gravity Falls. And ever since then, some fans have been obsessing over a third season which hasn't been announced and probably never come. Fortunately, to those who still haven't had enough of Gravity Falls, there are more stories with Dipper and MABEL that weren't animated but instead were drawn as a comic book.
So in this video we will tell you the first story of this compilation about the Pine siblings. It's worth mentioning that this story was written by Alex Hirsch himself, the showrunner, so we could pretty much consider them canon. Alright, let's get into it.
Ya llegamos.
Y esto es...
Al Preli.
This comic opens with Shmebulok. He explained he's been living with a curse for a long time, which causes him to only be able to say his name. But once every 1,000 years, he's capable of speaking normally. And so he will use this night to tell us 4 tales about the Pines family, whom he has been observing the entire summer because he considers himself their fan.
The first story, Face It, starts with 4 entrusting Dipper with the journals as he is going to search for the elusive Mothman during the next 3 days because he owes him money. Dipper gets excited at the prospect of 4 entrusting him with his precious journals, and after this, 4 jumps out of the window with a somersault and runs away as Stan nags him to use the main door instead.
Dipper and MABEL are reading the journals when suddenly somebody rings the doorbell. It's Pacifica. Somewhat nervous, Dipper asks if there are more ghosts trying to kill her again this week, referencing the events of the episode Norwest Mansion Mystery, which confirms this story takes place after that episode. With her face down, Pacifica responds that the problem is something worse, and she looks up, pointing to her face, worriedly saying that she has a wrinkle. Dipper simply laughs as he hears this.
Pacifica continues, telling him that's not funny because the next day she has a photo shoot with her family for the cover of the Better Families Than Yours magazine, and she has to look perfect. Otherwise, her parents will cancel one of her 6 credit cards. MABEL tries to comfort her by telling her that having wrinkles is nothing to be ashamed about, but her words don't calm Pacifica.
She mentions her makeup isn't enough to cover the wrinkle, so she asks Dipper to help her using nerd magic from his creepy book. Dipper immediately refuses to do that, telling her that the journals are too dangerous, and so Pacifica gives up, asking if she can use the bathroom. And Dipper naively tells her that the bathroom is the second door to the left. Pacifica walks up the stair and says to herself that lying is okay when it's for something that really matters: your appearance.
She opens the door to the twins' room and she finds the journal number 1. She reads it, finding various solutions to her problem. The first one is to be bitten by a vampire, but she rejects that, thinking being beautiful forever isn't worth if she can't see her reflection. The second option is the fountain of youth, but she rejects that too, saying that public pools are for the homeless. Finally, she finds a third option that looks promising: Mr. What's His Face. The book assures us that he can fix anything you don't like in your face for a price. And the only thing she has to do is to finish reading what's written in the book.
Suddenly, a creature with its face hidden and a gigantic smile appears behind Pacifica. She tells him to hurry up and remove the wrinkles on her face, but the monster tells her he can do a lot more than just removing her wrinkles. He can make her face free of defects forever, and he starts to move his hand towards Pacifica's face. Meanwhile, the twins go upstairs calling her, as MABEL needed a sweater to cheer her up, but Dipper realizes there's a red light coming out of their room.
They enter the room only to watch Mr. What's His Face putting his hand on Pacifica's face. This startles the monster, making him direct his magic onto MABEL, erasing her face completely.
With MABEL's face on hand, the monster confesses he actually wanted to steal Pacifica's face, but MABEL's should work just fine. Before he puts her in his bag, MABEL asks the guys for help, only to disappear alongside the monster. Dipper blames Pacifica for what just happened, and she apologizes for having lied, because it's something that comes off naturally to a Northwest, and it's hard for her to avoid it. Dipper continues to be worried and starts thinking what to do next.
Suddenly, MABEL's faceless body has an idea and she starts writing on a piece of paper. She says her face can see that the monster is taking her to the main street. Dipper runs off, telling MABEL's body to stay there while they go looking for her face, and they speed off in the golf cart from the first episode of the show.
They arrive at Main Street, and they see the monster running away, as Mabel continues to scream inside his bag saying it smells like naphthalene balls and morning bread in there. The monster uses a key to open the door as he dares the kids to follow him. Dipper and Pacifica chase after him, but when they open the door he used, all they see is a brick wall. Upset, Dipper opens the book searching for a way to enter.
Pacifica mentions that the monster used a key to enter, which reminds Dipper of the key Quentin Trembley gave to him in the episode Irrational Treasure, adding that he also got cholera from him. Before sticking the key into the lock, Dipper warns Pacifica that they may be about to see something very disturbing, and he wasn't wrong. As they open the door, they see the throat of a big monster.
Pacifica refuses to enter that thing, but Dipper reminds her that this whole thing is her fault, so she has no choice but to enter. Dipper jumps in, pulling Pacifica with him. When they reach the floor, Dipper realizes they are at a paranormal market. In there, we see a witch riding a giant hand, an invisible man using 2 trench coats, a 4-eyed platypus. Oh, and there's a wanted poster with Ida's face from the old house. This doesn't surprise us, as Terrace, the showrunner of that show, was an artist for this comic.
Dipper theorizes this must be where all the weird stuff in Gravity Falls is hiding during the day, and how the author has been searching for it for years but was never able to find it, which means they are probably the first humans to reach this place alive. Pacifica asks how are they going to find Mabel's face, and behind them we can see a sign that says "No humans allowed."
Dipper thinks that they should disguise themselves so they can walk around unnoticed, and tells Pacifica to cover herself with trash unless she wants to be eaten by a monster. She obeys, rubbing a fish skeleton on her hair, and Dipper laughs at her, telling her he only said that to see if she really was going to do it. But before she can respond, a big shadow covers them, and a voice asks them what are they supposed to be.
An enormous cyclops leaves the barrels in which the kids were hiding, and Dipper starts to get nervous, but on the other hand, Pacifica says specifically, "Get it? Pacifically? Okay, just leave me alone." Pacifica tells the cyclops that her name is Jackie Elf-Bandit, making a pun out of the word elf. She also says her servant's name is Trollboy. Dipper gets angry at Pacifica and tries to complain, but she pulls from the rope she tied him with, keeping appearances and also taking revenge on what he made her do to her face. The Cyclops believes Pacifica's lie, he praises the trash Pacifica is wearing, and asks how he can help her.
Pacifica tells him they are looking for body part replacements for obvious reasons, and she also says her servant has an abnormally large head, which upsets Dipper as he denies that. A creature with a lot of different arms and legs from various animals responds to her with puns and rhymes that he can give her a hand in exchange for an arm and a leg. Pacifica tells him that she is actually looking for faces, so the creature tells her to talk to that guy, pointing at Mr. What's His Face, who's selling Toby a very handsome face, so Chandra lifts her restraining order against him. Besides, we can see that the creature has the Summerween monster's face, and also Blind Ivan, the leader of the Blind Eye Society.
Dipper resolves to follow him to find Mabel's face, but Pacifica gets distracted when she hears a crow selling beauty pills. The crow assures her that his pills will remove any wrinkle she has and turn her into a dazzling queen. Pacifica takes a detour to grab a bottle of pills, but Dipper berates her, telling her they don't have time for that, and she says this is her only chance to look beautiful for her photo shoot. Dipper gets frustrated and asks her why is she so upset with being perfect? Why can't she just accept that she's a human? Making everyone in the market realize there are 2 humans in there.
Suddenly, they are both captured inside a net, as a bat with sewed eyes is laughing at them. Trying to make work of their situation, Pacifica says desperately that they aren't humans. They are actually hairless dogs who can talk. Confused by what she just said, Dipper asks, "What?" And Pacifica tells him that she isn't very good at lying when under pressure.
However, Pacifica's lies are not working this time as the bat actions them to all of the other monsters in that place. A sweating Slenderman starts looking desperately for his wallet, so this means he hasn't had a good time capturing children from the forest. Unfortunately, Dipper and Pacifica are sold to another monster instead, who throws them inside a big bag. As this happens, Dipper wonders what are they going to do and how are they going to help Mabel?
And this is the end of part 1. What will happen to our heroes? Will they find Mabel's face and get out of there in one piece? Will Woody and Bullseye cross the Grand Canyon? Don't miss the exciting ending in That Time Mabel Lost Her Face Part 2.